Welcome to this day. I'm BJ Arnett. I hope you're having a great day. This is the day that the Lord has made, and I'm going to be glad in it. I'm going to rejoice. I'm going to say, oh, this is a better day than 15, 20 years ago. No, I'm going to go back 35 years ago, 40 years ago. We don't even want to talk about it, okay? But we're going to talk about right now some important things that I think sometimes we shy away from. Our guests today have an important message to give, and I want you to take the opportunity to really listen in. It's not about judgment. It's about heart. Let's put it that way. It's about heart. It's about unveiling sometimes those secret things that you really don't want to talk about. My guests are Dr. Nelva Lee and Sonja Hegwood. Thank you so much, ladies, for being here, and I am sliding them into this on purpose, because one of the things that I know about the subject matter that we are approaching is that folks don't really want to talk about it. People like to hide from the fact that their daughter got pregnant at 13, or they got pregnant, and an abortion was performed. Nobody really wants to talk about that. But there's an alternative. And at the Pregnancy Resource Center of Henry County, Georgia, there is an alternative. There's a place to go. There is a way to live. There's a way to live through that moment that is so hard. Talk to us about the Pregnancy Center and why it's so important, ladies.
Well, the Pregnancy Center began in 1993 as an answer to the question, if I am unexpectedly pregnant, is an abortion, is a surgical process what I need? Mm-hmm. Or is there some other option that might be available to me that with enough support and with enough care, I might be able to really make the choice that's right for me instead of the only choice I might have been offered at that point?
I think you bring up a good point, is that the only choice that you might have been offered. Mm-hmm. That's a difficult thought. Why, Dr. Lee, is it sometimes the only choice that's offered?
It's the only one that culture, the media tells us is available to us. Mm-hmm. Oftentimes, the only option that young girls have, or even older women have, is what is presented, Planned Parenthood, your choices. Mm-hmm. But we want to, at the PRC, we want to be able to love on people, but to show them the alternatives, and the godly alternative. And the godly alternative, and the alternative that makes you not wake up in the middle of the night with a nightmare, remembering what had happened, and not having moments of regret. I've interviewed many women who have had that moment of regret, and you can't take it back. Right. You simply can't take it back. But when you help someone make the decision, and they step away from the thought of having an abortion, there's got to be some real help that allows them to know how to live through a pregnancy. I don't know about you, but that little one guy just about, what was going on with my body? I needed somebody to say, this is gonna happen, this is gonna happen, this is gonna happen, because I'm like, wait a minute, this is different. So I love the fact that you guys come alongside of this family, of this woman, and say, this is how your body's going to react. This is what you need to do. This is how you need to live. Talk to us about walking through the process.
Yeah, absolutely. Saying yes to pregnancy is saying yes to a lot of things you might not have known about in the beginning. And what we love to be able to offer is not only do you get to come in and we can help confirm your pregnancy, but there's a nurse that's going to sit knee to knee with you for as long as you need them to sit there. And then once that pregnancy is confirmed, you can come back every week, several times a week if you need to, and you can sit and you can cry, or you can ask questions, or you can get education and information, and there's always going to be somebody there who is your cheerleader and is able to answer your questions and encourage you that you can do this.
The you can do this is so important, because when you're in that place of pregnancy, your body is not controlled by you. So you need someone who is going to give you that time to adjust to the thought, and to give you a little bit of education of what your body is going through. Dr. Lee, as you have been such an integral part of the foundation of this organization, what would you say is the most important thing as a board member that you see is needed right now?
Well, one of the things that we love to do as board members is just to come alongside Sonja and the rest of the staff and being able to provide the resources, right? Everything from the fundraising to whatever support, moral support if needed. Especially last year, it was a tough year with COVID. But one of the things I love about the center, and I think Sonja alluded to it, it's not just that we help them, make that crucial decision that life is better, but we come alongside them with resources. We have a whole...
I love that. I saw a picture on y'all's website where this lady was standing in the midst of diapers and car seat and it was like it was the best baby shower.
Absolutely.
That I could have ever seen. There were diapers
People
for
have
days.
baby showers and then give the things to us so that we can then tell this woman standing there who maybe doesn't have what she needs or that culture surrounding her that somebody thought of her.
That's important.
It makes a huge difference to know you're not alone.
But you all also have training.
Yes.
That part is so important. You hear women say, I didn't even know how to breastfeed. What are you talking about? Right. There has to be some training if there's not a grandma or auntie or a mama around. But there's all of the training segments that you all do on a daily basis when coming alongside. Talk to us further about that.
Absolutely. So we have a video-based education system that we can use, but we also have community partners who come in and sit with them. Lactation specialists from the hospital will come over and teach those breastfeeding classes. Individuals from our local banks, they'll come over and teach financial classes. So we have a great community support. And what I love about Henry County specifically is how much they want to invest in one another so that they can turn around and be an investment to their community, because we've told women they can be anything they want to be, and we want to make sure that they can be the hero of their own story.
Oh, the hero of their own story, which makes you realize that it's really more about stepping from the pregnancy into how life is lived. The fact that the bank will come alongside and teach classes in financial planning is major, because when a little person comes into your life, there are a whole lot of financial things you have to navigate along with making the formula and making sure you have every other physical thing the child needs. There's also that financial base that puts a peace of mind in a parent's
Absolutely.
mind.
It's life stability. That's the point that we hope to be able to offer, because a little person can destabilize a few things in our lives at that moment. So we really hope to offer an opportunity to stabilize whatever is feeling out of place in their life.
Dr. Lee, you've been in the medical field and teaching and sharing what it's like to be a part of this whole process for many, many years. Tell us a little bit about your background and your career, and this becomes important to you because?
Well, it's more of a personal thing. My mother was one of these young ladies. When she was in high school, she became pregnant with me, and abortion was discussed. And she was a Christian. Thank God she chose life.
Yes, amen.
Otherwise, I wouldn't
be sitting here,
exactly.
right?
And when she told me that story when I was a very young little girl, it impacted me. I made a decision very early that I would always choose life.
Yes.
And it wasn't always easy. I remember as a young 20-something thinking about, wow, what if I got pregnant? What would I do? And I remember making whole plans about, how I would go about taking care of my child, and I think that it led me to getting married to a good Christian man, because that's how important it was to me to raise children into a value family. And I believe that if we teach our young people, from a very young age, how important life is, how important family is, that we wouldn't see the preponderance of abortions in our country.
I think we're not telling the story of life enough. That story in itself of your mom making the decision to keep you, that's a very personal story.
Exactly.
We're not talking about she kept my sister. No, she kept me.
Yes.
That's a very personal story, and that impacts people. But when you think about the fact that she chose to keep you, and now you chose to keep all of your children, but first to marry the man of God that you married. keep all of your children.
My children.
And, okay.
My babies.
And keep your babies, even though they're big, right? And then be able to share that testimony, that story with other women, other families, that it can be done. You can do this.
Yes.
That's important.
Yes.
When you take a look at the effect of your mother telling you that story and where you are now in your career, how does it make you feel?
I always felt that I was special because of that. I always felt, and every person is special, really, when you really think about it.
Yeah, yes.
But I always felt that I was chosen. You know, I was chosen by God and for a purpose. And again, every person, if they really truly drill down into our purpose for life, is God has a purpose for each and every one of us. And for me personally, I feel that when people choose abortion, they're denying the world of someone that's special.
Someone great.
Exactly.
Yeah, I often think about that because, and as you said, society pushes you in that direction, and you hear, if you have a baby, your life will shut down and you won't be able to do this, that, and the other. Well, I mean, my child went with me everywhere. My husband teases me and says, the child likes sushi because from the time he was born, we had a meeting, we're having sushi, and that's what he ate. Well, there's a whole lot of special things that happen with parent and child, and there's so much gift inside of each human being that when that life is snuffed out, that's a part of a gift that's snuffed out with it.
Exactly.
So I love the fact that you guys give gifts, that you give physical gifts and you give each other, as a gift to these families, not just the mommy, but you give it to the families. I think that is critically important to the understanding of the nurturing of growing a good, healthy family.
Exactly.
It has to be mommy, daddy, grandma, cousin, whoever is in that circle that they call family has to be nurtured together. If there were one thing that you felt that the Pregnancy Resource Center of Henry County really needed, what would you say that one thing would be? And I know it's hard to bring it to one. I already know.
One thing.
Yeah, exactly.
We need people.
Relationships.
We need people.
Yeah.
I think that as you're talking about support, people can get baby stuff somewhere, and people can get information off of YouTube, but we need people.
You need those arms that wrap around that
We
mom.
need the people to come to see us so that we can share what God has planted within us. And we need those people that God is calling to come because we need each other.
Exactly.
We need those knee to knee, eyeball to eyeball. Let's have this discussion and let me love through me. Let me love you.
I was telling someone about the Pregnancy Resource Center of Henry County, and they said to me, the one thing that they got from the website was that it was no judgment, that there's no judgment, that they knew that they could step in there and be okay.
Absolutely.
So
because there's this one thing, you said that one thing nobody wants to talk about.
Right.
But it's the one thing that we need to talk about. And we need to do it with grace, and we need to do it with truth, and we need to do it without judgment, or else what is the conversation going to end up being?
The conversation is had at the Pregnancy Resource Center of Henry County every day, and you all do it well. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having us.
Because it's important that people are able to reach out and find you. Go to the Pregnancy Resource Center. They can help. Don't just hear all the naysayers. You can do it. God bless.